Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the King of Derp coming to you live from the South, the deep South. I finally got done with catching up with most of my subscriptions here on YouTube, and a video that was in my subscription box from the Breakfast Club member of Infidel Avenger, and the video title was "I'm a Little Bit Racist." And I want to speak a little bit about some of the things that he brought up in the video that I hear quite often, especially from more liberal side of things. Now, just hear me out. I'm not trying to attack anyone for wanting to better themselves. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there's a lot of misconceptions that a lot of people makes, including him, about illegal immigration in this country and the type of jobs that are affected from due to the paying under the table and no taxes and etc. So bear with me and hear me out. Now, one of the things that Infidel Avenger said that kind of bothers me just a little bit, that I hear all the time from a lot of people, particularly from the left side of politics, is, well, they're just taking the lower jobs, that they're only being fruit pickers and they mow your yards and they're maids and so on. You know, the jobs that Americans won't do. And I have to tell you, it's quite bullshit. That is the laziest bullshit answer that I've ever heard. Like I've said in many other videos, I am from the South, particularly I'm from Alabama. And Alabama is one of the poorest states in the Union. Um, there are higher paying jobs, don't get me wrong, but to be honest with the majority of people in this state, they're far out of reach. You know, we have larger cities that does have the higher education level jobs, and but the majority of us fellow Alabamians, we have to rely on the other industries, and one is the fast food or the food industry, where they pay minimum wage. And if you're a good little boy or a good little girl, you might get paid an extra quarter an hour. Or you can go and work in a textile job where they pay semi decent. But the truth is, it's became less and less due to the fact that a lot of jobs are leaving to go overseas. Uh, Good example of that would be my two brothers. They worked in the same sock mill, and little by little, the workers were being replaced with illegal immigrants to pay them $2 less an hour, and of course no taxes. And that you just begin to see less and less and less of legitimate workers from the state. And eventually, the company says, "Hey, I can make 30 more cents on the dollar if we ship our company overseas or to another country," and lay off what workers that they did have. And a bigger smack in the face was their boss came to them, both of them, and asked both of them if they would like to go overseas temporarily and train people to do their jobs. So of course my brothers had more respect than that, and they said absolutely not, and they took the layoff. And but the problem with that is that the work that was being done overseas was so shitty that it was being shipped back to the United States and fixed whatever problems was wrong, and then shipped back over originally to, say, Guatemala or some other country, and then they packaged it and then they shipped it back to the United States. How they make money on that, I don't know. But back to my point, um, it's not the jobs that, if you're from like a state like, say, Pennsylvania, where you have the higher education and you've got a lot more options than, say, a poor state like mine, then you have the luxury to stand on your podium and say, oh, well, it's the lower jobs, it's the less jobs that's being affected. But you don't speak for the rest of the country. Like here in the South, we're unfortunately, and I know it's our own damn fault due to political, a lot of it is, to why we are as poor as we are. But we're just out desperately grabbing for jobs and hoping that our jobs doesn't just cease one day and leave. And so it's just my state just keeps getting poorer and poorer and poorer as we go. But I'm not saying it's the illegal immigrants' fault. They want to do like my forefathers did. They want to come to this country and they want to better themselves. They want their family to have better things. They want better health care. They want to send money back to their loved ones in their original country and so on and so forth. That's honorable. I get that. My issue is with the laws that we have that and the companies that do hire illegally just to make to pay that worker just a couple bucks less. We can't compete with that. We can't compete with doing the same work for less than somebody that legitimately has the job and pays it pays out. But you always hear this from people that it's the less jobs, and that's not true. Now, not always, but on the most part, it's usually about perspectives and where you see situation. Either you're on top of the pile and you're looking down at below you and the lesser jobs and people that are struggling just to get those less jobs, then you have that luxury to say that it's the small grummy jobs that nobody wants to do. Or you've got people on the bottom that are hard workers, they're dedicated, and they're doing everything they can to survive and to put food on the table. And better yet, to push their children to be better than them, to grow up and seek a either higher education or a higher job that you're capable of getting. And unfortunately, I've been all across the spectrum of a higher job, lower jobs, and so on through my lifetime, that I can truly say that it's not cut and dry like a lot of people does. Well, that's the lesser jobs, and therefore they should have it, because there's way too many people that depend on them less jobs that feels that they are here legitimately that can't get them no more because they can't compete. They can't compete for $2 less an hour. And everybody makes a big stink about minimum wage, that we should be at a living wage. Well, that's fine, but all that's going to do is going to drive out more people at the bottom out of the jobs and bring in more illegal immigrants to replace that job. Now, all this that I've been talking about, I know it's about the lower level jobs, and it's harder and harder for somebody on the bottom to compete with somebody that's getting paid much less for the same job. So I hear a lot of politicians talk about some kind of work program where they can work for either citizenship to obtain citizenship, or some kind of work program to make they get paid a fair wage and they get to pay taxes and so on. I think that would make it a lot more competitive for the smaller jobs that's available out there. That if an employer has to pay out a legitimate wage to someone that is an immigrant to somebody that is a citizen, then that levels the playing field. But that's one of the things that we could possibly do to level the playing field. Another thing that we need to do, or our country needs to work toward, and that is free education. It doesn't have to be the Ivy League highest education. You know, people think that, well, they're people that makes $20,000 or $30,000 at a job. Um, it's ridiculous now to try to make a living making that a year, and that's all that's available. So a free education would allow people that are willing to climb out of that pile much higher than where they're at. And unfortunately, our government doesn't know their heads from their asses about just about anything, and most people that elect these politicians don't know their heads from their asses, and and the social issues that we have in the country. But that's just a couple of things that we could possibly do to better ourselves. Because isn't that really what this country was founded on? Was to better ourselves. Unfortunately, there's way too many people on the bottom that are stuck. There's no climbing out, and we've neglected ourselves, unfortunately, in how we vote and who we elect and so on. And maybe in the future, maybe people in this country will get their heads out of their asses and vote for people that progress forward instead of 3 steps backwards. So let me know what you think. Tell me down in the comment section below if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, why am I wrong. If you like this video, give me a like. If you like this video and the rest of my videos, please subscribe. But as always, this is the King of Dirt signing off. Bye.